Yo, what's going on, guys? And of course, off-season preview of the Houston Rockets. They just recently lost in Game 7 to the Golden State Warriors. I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think they should do? Who's expendable? What to expect? I'd like to hear what you guys have to say. If you enjoyed, like, comment, as I mentioned, and subscribe. It helps out the channel a ton. So, over 82 games this year. This was a Rocket squad that exceeded expectations from a national standpoint. But I know if you're from Houston, you guys knew Şengün, Jalen Green, the boys. They were growing up under Udoka. They scored 114 points a game, shot 45% from the field. And they were a top 15 scoring unit, even though they weren't the most efficient. And they were one of the most dominant rebounding teams. They out-rebounded teams, I think, by 6-7 boards a game. And that was the league best net rebounding margin, which I think just kind of highlights how they were just attacking and then also allowing them just to deteriorate their opposing team's morale with their physicality. Now, their offense sometimes went stagnant because of inefficient shooting, and they didn't get to the free throw a lot. You know, their free throw ability as a team isn't as sound as you would want. They shoot like 70%. They don't get to the line enough. But besides that, I think the only other complaint is they could swing the ball a bit more. Defensively, they held opponents to under 110 points per game, top 10 defense, arguably top 5. They limited second chance opportunities. They forced contested jumpers regularly. And they just, I think the only thing is teams did shoot like 3-point shots a little bit over league average. They ranked 11th in 3-point defense, but like I think that's minuscule. You have Tari Eason, you have Amen Thompson. I'm not worried. Şengün, was the fulcrum. He's the guy who runs it. You got Thompson, who on defense is a star. On offense, his interior finishing, his gravity, his passing, his everything. He's going to be great. Brooks is a guy who can space the floor for the team. VanVleet and Green combined for 35 points per game. And we're both like shot creators, and Green's a guy who's capable of getting to like a Zach LaVine, prime Bradley Beal, maybe even like poor man's Devin Booker type levels. And Steven Adams was cool. I think if you could upgrade from him, it'd be possible. In the postseason, I think their scoring really struggled. They weren't able to rebound, and they just turned the ball a lot. Like, they were still formidable on the boards and in transition, but they lacked reliable shooting from deep, and they didn't have enough playmaking, which I think became glaring in late game situations. So, despite, I think, Tari Eason, Amen Thompson, well, let me take Amen Thompson out there. Despite Tari Eason and Dillon Brooks, and I guess Fred VanVleet and Jalen Green being shooters on this team, the team needs a high volume guy, and obviously either a trade or a signing of a Malik Beasley or a Luke Kennard at the least to just give you some volume and a 40% shooter. They need some guys to help them with the free throws. I don't know if you get like a specialist, a shooting coach in there. This is a team that was bottom 3 in assists per game. They need a secondary facilitator. A Tyus Jones could help them, or a trade for an Anthony Simons, or just a guard to help. I'm being told Fred VanVleet's staying, and they're just going to re-sign him on a cheaper deal or something like that. I just think they need like a change of pace guard who will help diversify the offense and maybe even leverage second chance opportunities. And maybe leverage like the depth you have in contracts, or maybe start integrating like Reed Shepherd. Now, there is the team option with Fred VanVleet. My understanding is they're going to decline it and, create cap space to pursue players. They'll help them with spacing and shooting and passing. while re-signing him to a market value deal to like keep him around because they like him. You got to decide on Jabari Smith Jr. If you're not going to pay him, trade him. Tari Eason, you got to keep him. He's one of the best defenders in the league. He's critical. Jabari had a good year as like this 6-man role. And then they have the taxpayer mid-level exception, I believe, and $14 million if the cap slate. So depending on if things happen, they're going to be a taxpayer team which would be 5.7. They could be a non-taxpayer team if they get to below the number, which would be 14. So either I think drafting a guy would be cool if they believe there's a playmaker in the draft. I don't think there is one. So, oh my God, my nose itches, guys. Malik Beasley, Luke Kennard, Tyus Jones. I mean, in a dream scenario, if you could sign and trade, I guess Jabari Smith and salary filler for a Miles Turner. I don't know how, rebound. I think they're a good enough rebounding team to do that. I think he's a guy given like $20 million on an average, annual average value. 3-and-D rim protector. Could be possible. Now, their trade chips, as we said. I mean, Fred VanVleet, they could trade him, and like that contract's like very, like not really guaranteed. So that could be a move. Dillon Brooks could be moved, but I think they keep him. I think it's unlikely they're gonna re-sign Steven Adams. I think they could replace him. Maybe they bring him back if he's a veteran minimum. Aaron Holiday decline his team option. If they bring him back, just give him a veteran minimum. Jeff Green's gone. Cut Jock Landale if you really need free up cap space or try to use him. We've said it before, if they can target sharpshooters, Tyus Jones, in a dream scenario, floor spacing big like Mr. Miles Turner would be cool. But other options. So like I said, who else is out there? I think Malik Beasley's not going to be on the market. I think the cum bucket, he wants they said 20-30 million. Like, dude, if he 8-10 million, sure, like give him that if he's cool, if you can get him on there. Quinn Grimes is going to be too expensive. Malcolm Brogdon's a locker room cancer, but he thrived under Udoka, right? He was Brogdon, we're going to check this. So this is Udoka. Second year with the team. So second year with the team in 21-22. Just going to go to that Boston team right there. He didn't have Brogdon, did he? No, he didn't have Brogdon. He was like, Malcolm was the other year. Yeah, so he never played with Brogdon or under Brogdon. So MA has no experience with Brogdon, but I've been told he's a locker room cancer. They could get him. He's like a good backup point guard. I don't think D'Lo's leaving Brooklyn. They'll give him the most money. I think a creative slasher like Karis LeVert, who had a good year, who can handle the ball, play the 2 to 3. Spencer Dinwiddie, I think he either go to LA or stay in Dallas, even though he'd be a combo guard who can play the 1, can help him out. Campaign could be a guy. He's another guy who I think might just stay in New York just because like they need depth, cheap guys. He'd be willing to, even though he's a high IQ backup point guard who can, cross people up, hit from deep. Realistically, a Brook Lopez, yeah, he's old, lost a step. Still going to give you a couple blocks a game and be able to stretch the floor, especially if you have to move off Jabari Smith. Now, Middleton is going to pick up his options. So, like, if he gets bought out, Middleton would be cool. Naz Reid could be someone that you maybe do a sign and trade. I think he's definitely interesting. Outside of that, the Kelly Oubre's and Luke Cornett's, I think they're both going to stay there, but a stretch 5 like a Luke Cornett to give you some bench lineups and small ball runs could help you out. Kelly Oubre, I think, is just going to stay with the Sixers. Had a good year this year at times, but he can thrive on the ball or off the ball. Defender at times. Gary Trent Jr., he can score. He's a good catch and shoot guy. Shows he can scale up at times. Now, anybody else I think that could really be on the list? I just think, again, 3-point volume shooters, some athleticism at the wing position. Guys can help like with driving defensive rotations, and then just some extra ball handling. smooth out the lineups when VanVleet sits. And what we said, Cornet, Lopez, like those type of guys, even if it's not those, just some people who can help and keep Şengün's gravity from clogging the paint. And all can be just like 1 year to mid-level deals fitting within like the mid-level exception, or just like keeping them under the apron so they can be good or loaded for next year. But yeah, that's it. I think that's it. Yeah. Ciao. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe. I think they can be contenders next year. Go in for Giannis if he's available. Let me know if you think that's the plan. Kevin Durant, should they? Let me know.